Our headlines for tonight: President Marcos signs 6.793 trillion pesos national budget for 2026.
House Speaker Boji D vows zero tolerance on corruption in 2026 national budget.
Education remains as top priority of the administration, according to DepEd's Chief Sunny Angara.
Retired Major General Romeo Poquis arrested over sedition raps.
And Philippine government concerned about evolving issues in Venezuela and closely monitors 74 Filipinos' welfare amid the U.S. attacks. Good evening, bringing you the latest news for tonight. I am ALVIN, PELOBELLO.
And I am KRIZZA Lopez. This is Eurotv News. Thread the details on our broadcast. The 2026 national budget is now enactment as law as President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. signed the 6.793 trillion pesos General Appropriations Act, citing the urgent need for reforms following disasters, economic challenges, and the exposure of large-scale corruption in flood control projects.
The president also vetoed billions of pesos in the unprogrammed funds, stressing that public money must never be used as a backdoor for discriminatory spending. Here's the report.
The General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2026 is now officially law after President Marcos Jr. signed the 6.793 trillion pesos national budget on Monday. In his speech, President Marcos cited the major challenges faced by the country in 2025, particularly natural disasters, economic difficulties, and the exposure of large-scale corruption involving flood control projects. The president stressed that these challenges underscore the urgency of genuine reforms, saying that real change can no longer wait.
And so as we enter this year, let us take this opportunity to start forward with difficulties, to rebuild the trust in us, to strengthen accountability, deliver an honest and effective government to the Filipinos.
President Marcos added that at the midpoint of his term, the projects being implemented under his administration are now at the critical stage. With the enactment of Republic Act No. 12314 or the 2026 national budget, he emphasized that this measure is a crucial component in ensuring the proper implementation of government programs and projects. He also underscored the importance of the honest and transparent use of public funds to truly serve the Filipino people.
Totaling 6.793 trillion pesos. The national budget is aligned with our medium and long-term development plans and vision.
Meanwhile, prior to signing the 2026 budget, President Marcos vetoed 92.5 billion pesos worth of items under the unprogrammed appropriations. In his statement, the president said that he will not allow unprogrammed funds to be misused or to serve as a backdoor for personal spending.
Let me be clear. The unprogrammed appropriations are not blank checks. We will not allow the unprogrammed appropriations to be misused or treated as a backdoor for discretionary spending.
Based on the approved General Appropriations Act, unprogrammed funds for 2026 were reduced to 150.9 billion pesos, according to the Department of Budget and Management. This is the lowest level of unprogrammed appropriations since 2019. Data from previous years show how unprogrammed funds steadily increased before being significantly reduced under the 2026 budget. In 2019, unprogrammed funds stood at 197.1 billion pesos. This increased to 216.3 billion pesos in 2020 before dropping to 176.3 billion pesos in 2021. Unprogrammed funds rose again in 2020 to 251.6 billion pesos, ballooned to 807.2 billion pesos in 2023, then slightly declined to 731.4 billion pesos in 2024. The amount was further reduced to 363.4 billion pesos in 2025 before dropping sharply to 150.9 billion pesos in 2026. Among the items vetoed were proposed funds for budgetary support, owned and controlled corporations or GOCCs, unpaid obligations of local government units from previous years, certain personal services requirements, select industry support programs, insurance for government assets, and several proposed government counterpart funding items. Meanwhile, the remaining approved and program funds items include support for foreign assistance projects expected to finalize loan agreements this year, funds for risk management during unforeseen events, and 50 billion pesos allocated for the revised AFP modernization program considered vital to strengthening the country's defense capabilities. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
Following the enactment of the 2026 General Appropriations Act, House Speaker Boji D vows for zero tolerance on corruption in the 2026 national budget, stressing that every peso will be implemented appropriately. Mia Layagin has the report.
Following last year's budget scandal, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. formally signed the 6.793 trillion pesos 2026 General Appropriations Act with the confidence that it will be free from corruption. Despite this, the public remains on guard and alarmed over possible another budget corruption scandal this 2026. While House Speaker Faustino Boji D understands these public sentiments, he also assured the Filipinos that the Congress will ensure that the 2026 national budget will be appropriately implemented and spent. He described the 2026 GAA as the people's budget, which is open, accountable, transparent, and is focused on programs and projects towards the improved lives of Filipinos. He noted that this year's budget will still focus on education, allotting the highest education budget in history, as well as health sector. He likewise expressed confidence on reforms on the 2026 budget process like bicameral conference live stream and replacement of small committee, which he noted as key factors in ensuring a trustworthy national budget. He also expressed commitment in ensuring that the 2026 budget will be implemented smoothly and timely, citing the Congress' constitutional duty to oversight the fund, working closely with the executive branch. This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
Prioritizing the nation's learners, the Department of Education or DepEd has been granted a historic 1.345 trillion pesos allocation, the highest among all agencies in the 2026 national budget, with Education Secretary Sani Angara assuring the public that these funds will be strictly utilized to accelerate major reforms and address long-standing gaps in the education system. More details from Catherine Landicho.
The Department of Education or DepEd welcomed and expressed its gratitude for the signing of the 2026 General Appropriations Act by President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. on Monday, January 5, which once again allocated the largest portion of the national budget to the education sector. Under the signed 2026 national budget, education received the highest allocation amounting to 1.345 trillion pesos. According to the Department of Budget and Management or DBM, this represents 4.36% of the country's gross domestic product.
Education receives the highest allocation, amounting to over 1.34 trillion pesos. This shall support the creation of teaching, non-teaching plantilla positions in public schools and the promotion or reclassification of our teachers to ensure quality teaching and learning. This shall also fund the construction of classrooms nationwide.
In line of this, Education Secretary Sani Angara assured the public that the allocated funds will be properly and effectively utilized for the benefit of the student, teachers, and school nationwide. DepEd emphasized that the substantial budget allocation reflects the administration's continued commitment to making education a top priority, recognizing it as foundation of national development. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
In the first week of 2026, 7 overseas Filipino workers were safely repatriated, arriving at NAIA Terminal 1 yesterday. Government offices quickly provided assistance to the distressed OFWs. More from this report.
7 Filipinos who were victims of human trafficking in Cambodia have been safely repatriated. This is the first batch of the repatriates from Cambodia since the beginning of 2026. According to the Department of Migrant Workers, the plane carrying the Filipinos arrived at NAIA Terminal 1 yesterday morning. The Filipinos were immediately provided with financial assistance from the Interagency Against Trafficking, consisting of DMW NAIA, Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, the Bureau of Immigration, Manila International Airport Authority, Airport Police Division, and the NAIA Task Force Against Trafficking. OWA also arranged the transportation of the returnees for the respective hometowns. The repatriation was made possible due to the cooperation of the Philippine Embassy in Phnom Penh and the Migrant Workers Office in Singapore. The victims are also scheduled to undergo the government's legal, psychosocial, and reintegration programs. Before the end of 2025, the government has evacuated more than 300 Filipinos victims of human trafficking from Myanmar. This is ALVIN PELOBELLO for Eurotv News.
The Philippine Ports Authority or PPA has recorded a massive influx of over 6 million passengers across the country's ports during the recent holiday season, a surge mirror in top destinations like Boracay and Baguio City, which saw record-breaking numbers of domestic tourists this Christmas. Here's my report.
More than 6 million passengers were served at ports nationwide during the holiday season, according to data from the Philippine Ports Authority or PPA. Record shows that from December 15, 2025 to January 5, 2026, a total of 6,095,624 passengers traveled through seaports to return home and spend the holiday in the provinces. This is the highest passenger volume recorded by the PPA during the holiday season since 2023 to 2024. During the December 15, 2023 to January 5, 2024 period, the PPA recorded 4,366,933 passengers. Meanwhile, more than 4.7 million passengers were logged from December 15, 2024 to January 5, 2025. Meanwhile, Boracay Island and Baguio City recorded high numbers of domestic tourists during the recent Christmas season. According to the Department of Tourism, from December 15 to December 28, 2025, a total of 118,745 tourists visited Boracay to celebrate Christmas. Baguio City recorded 117,137 tourists during the holiday period. Cebu City also saw surge in visitors with 102,124 tourists recorded during the Christmas break. Panglao Island in Bohol welcomed 62,240 tourists. Meanwhile, the popular beach destination of La Union was crowded with 47,338 foreign and local tourists. Historic streets and coastal landscapes in Ilocos Sur also drew large crowds with 32,232 tourists recorded during the holiday season. Despite the high volume of tourists who celebrated Christmas in various destinations across the country, the Department of Tourism continues its preparation from the upcoming ASEAN Tourism Forum 2026. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
The Department of Health Mental Health Hotline recorded a high number of calls due to anxiety and relationship issues on Christmas season. Vanessa Cleophas has more.
The Department of Health or DOH records more than 8,000 individuals who called on mental health crisis hotline 1553 during the recent holiday season. Among their main concerns are love, life problems, experience anxiety and depressive symptoms. According to the DOH, These calls were recorded between December 21, 2025 and January 2, 2026. The individuals who called mostly wanted to speak with experts about what they were going through and to seek advice. Most of them are young adults aged 18 to 30. Majority of callers were women. It can be recalled that as early as the start of December last year, the DOH had already appealed to the public, stating that the agency was open and ready to receive calls from those experiencing mental health problems. This appeal was accompanied by Health Secretary Ted Herbosa's reminder that not everyone experiences a joyful Christmas and New Year celebration. The department also emphasized that through the mental health hotline, they consider that they are helping save lives as callers are provided with psychological first aid and free mental health consultations. Meanwhile, the DOH said it will continue to monitor the calls received by the National Center for Mental Health even after the holiday season has ended. This is Vanessa Cleofas for Eurotv News.
Meanwhile, during the Christmas break, the Bureau of Customs intercepted 7 million pesos worth of illegal ecstasy at the port of Clark, Pampanga. The illegal substance was allegedly bound for Davao. Shai Morales reports.
Amidst the holiday season, the Bureau of Customs seized 2 parcels of ecstasy tablets amounting to 7,040,125 pesos in Port of Clark, Pampanga. In coordination with the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency Airport Interdiction Unit or PDEA AIU and Philippine National Police or PNP as witnesses, a total of 4,124 ecstasy tablets were confiscated, which, according to the authorities, originated from Austria, heading to Davao City under one consignee. The interdiction rooted when BOC's X-ray inspection project team spotted both parcels upon its arrival in the express warehouse at Clark International Airport on December 24 last year. Following this, BOC immediately conducted examinations on the parcels in the presence of PDEA and PNP. The test results have shown that the confiscated tablets were positive as illegal drugs, which was initially declared as CARMATs. The first parcel contains 2,963 ecstasy tablets, amounting to over 4 million pesos, while the second parcel contains 1,431 ecstasy tablets of over 2 million pesos worth.
And while the laboratory confirmation for the exact chemical composition of the drugs is pending, the warrant of seizure and detention shall be issued for violations of the laws relating to the case. This is Shai Morales reporting for Eurotv News.
Days before the Feast of Jesus Nazarene, the Metro Manila hospitals has raised the code white alert as their preparations for the holy event on January 9. Vanessa Cleofas returns for the details.
The Department of Health or DOH has announced that it will place all government hospitals in Metro Manila as well as those in Central and Southern Luzon under Code White Alert. This was confirmed by Health Assistant Secretary and spokesperson Albert Domingo in an interview a few days before the upcoming Feast of Jesus Nazareno on January 9, 2026, where millions of devotees are expected to join the traslasyon. The move aims to place hospitals on heightened alert and ensure a swift response to individuals who may require immediate medical assistance as a large number of devotees attending on the day of the feast. This is also part of the agency's preparation for a possible mass casualty event, which they hope will not happen, but stress that it is better for hospital to be prepared. Aside from declaring a code white alert, the DOH will also deploy additional emergency response personnel along the route of the carriage and in areas surrounding Quiapo Church. Meanwhile, along with the announcement, the agency also urged senior citizens not to join the traslasyon, advise against bringing children, and encourage attendees to voluntarily wear face masks to help prevent illness and the spread of infections. This is Vanessa Cleofas for Eurotv News.
Retired Major General Romeo Poquis was arrested by authorities at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport on Monday, facing charges of inciting to sedition in connection with his alleged involvement in the destabilization plot against the Marcos administration on November 2025. Mia Layagin with the report.
Returning from his vacation in Thailand, retired Air Force Major General Romeo Pokis was welcomed by authorities in Nai on Monday, serving his arrest warrant. Pokis was arrested over inciting to sedition charges via the arrest order issued by the Quezon City Regional Trial Court 77 on December 5. The case rooted from his participation on November 25 rallies where he criticized the administration over a corruption scandal in the government. This is still aside from the allegations of plotting destabilization, urging military officials to withdraw their support to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who is also Armed Forces of the Philippines Commander-in-Chief. Pokis was the convener of the United People's Initiative, a group of retired military officers who called on Marcos's resignation amid corruption scandal. Pokis was brought to Camp Crame for related processes with at least 48,000 pesos recommended bail. Following his arrest, his lawyer attorney Ferdinand Topacio condemned this, citing violations of his rights and expressing plans to file charges against arresting authorities over said violations. Topacio also believes that this is a scare tactic and harassment against vocal critics of the Marcos administration. In their defense, the Philippine National Police argue that they just did their duties as the warrant ordered and that this is nothing personal. This is Mila Yagin for Eurotv News.
Taking a proactive stance against flood control corruption issues, the Quezon City government has officially inaugurated a 1,700 cubic meter underground detention basin, a facility designed to mitigate street flooding by storing excess rainwater during the rainy season. Catherine Landicho returns.
Detention basins open under the basketball court in Quezon City. It has capacity 1,700 cubic meter for their flood control project. To address the ongoing flooding problem, the local government has opened one of its detention basins in Barangay Santa Monica, Quezon City, built underneath a basketball court. According to the city government, the facility has a capacity of 1,700 cubic meters and it's designed to temporarily store rainwater. It is also connected to the city's drainage system. The project aims to reduce the impact of heavy rainfall and further strengthen flood control measures in Quezon City, particularly in flood-prone areas. The city government added that the opening of the facility is part of its new project launch at the start of the year in preparations for the rainy season and to address the effects of climate change. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
Manila has expressed grave concern over rising tensions in Venezuela following the U.S. military's arrest of President Nicolas Maduro, urging a peaceful resolution while prioritizing the safety of 74 Filipinos currently in the country. More from this report.
The Philippine government is concerned about the rising tensions in Venezuela following the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro by the United States and the attack on the country. According to the Department of Foreign Affairs, despite the Philippines' gratitude for the security considerations of the United States, Manila asserted the important principles of international law, including the independence and equality of states. The DFA called on for a peaceful resolution to the conflict and the prohibition of the use of any force and non-interference in the domestic affairs of the states. Among the Philippines concerned is the safety of about 74 Filipinos based in Venezuela, which the government said is continuing to monitor following the attacks by the U.S. military. Several lawmakers criticized the move by the United States. According to Makabayan Bloc, they strongly condemned the aggressiveness of the U.S. military against Venezuela and even the abduction of the country's leader. Some progressive groups also staged a protest outside the U.S. Embassy in Manila over the alleged imperialist views of U.S. President Donald Trump. Trump has arrested Maduro along with his wife for allegedly leading the illegal drug trade. This is ALVIN PELOBELLO for Eurotv News.
In relation to that, Venezuela has ordered a full military mobilization following U.S. military operation in Caracas that resulted in the capture of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, as President Trump warns of further strike if the remaining government fails to cooperate with U.S. efforts for judicious transition of the country. Son Santiago with the report.
Venezuela's defense minister has ordered the full deployment of the country's armed forces following the U.S. military strike in the country. Defense Minister Vladimir Lopez in a video address said this weekend that Venezuela will not surrender or enter negotiations, vowing to resist any foreign troop presence in the country. His statement came after the United States carried out a surprise operation in Caracas last Saturday, which resulted in the capture of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Cilia Flores. Washington says Maduro was taken to face multiple drug-related charges in the United States, including narcoterrorism conspiracy and cocaine importation conspiracy into the country. According to U.S. President Donald Trump, Maduro used his position in government to facilitate cocaine trafficking and provide protection to major drug networks operating in the U.S.
The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison responsible for the deaths of countless Americans.
The U.S. has also accused his administration of widespread election fraud and systematic human rights abuses. Maduro has served as the president since 2013. Meanwhile, in a separate public address, Venezuela's military condemned the operation, calling it a violation of national sovereignty and demanding the immediate release of the two figures. U.S. President Donald Trump warned that a second military strike against Venezuela remains possible if members of their government refuse to cooperate with U.S. efforts to fix the country. However, Trump clarified that such measures are not immediately necessary at this time.
And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not. The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave.
The United States plan to take control of Venezuela. According to Trump, this is to ensure a safe, judicious transition, including allowing major U.S. oil companies to operate in the country. Venezuela holds the largest oil reserves in the world. On the other hand, Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, now acting as interim president, also called for the immediate release of Maduro and his wife. She also insisted that Maduro remains the country's only president. The United Nations also condemned the event, describing the strike as a violation of international law. This is Son Santiago for Eurotv News.
Luka Doncic 36-point powered the Los Angeles Lakers to a 120-114 comeback victory over the Memphis Grizzlies this Monday, propelling the team to a 22-11 record and a third seed in the West. Kyle Basa has the sports news.
This is for your Philippine sports news today. The Los Angeles Lakers beat the Memphis Grizzlies in the Western Conference regular season game showdown in the NBA today, January 5.
The Grizzlies gave the Lakers a run for their money by locking down in the interior and being on par with the Lakers offense. Lakers superstar Luka Doncic once again stepped up as the main scorer of the team and did his job, including hitting back-to-back triples in crunch time. Doncic had 36 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. Jake LaRavia and LeBron James also stepped up and produced 26 points each, while James had 10 assists as well. The final scores of the game is 120 Lakers, 114 Grizzlies. The Lakers are now currently in the third spot of the Western Conference with a 22-11 win-loss record. This past week, the Lakers head coach JJ Redick opened up some insights about the team's offensive struggles. As head coach, he is frustrated as the players are inconsistent with the plays and strategies he draws up in every matchup. Despite his comments, the purple and gold jerseys made up and showed grit against the Grizzlies and will try to bounce back and get their groove running and look forward to a successful season, including winning the championship.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I do a lot of joysticking over there on the sideline. Yesterday I said, hey, let's run away toss and bring it up the left side. I want so-and-so in it. It was after a dead ball. It wasn't like I'm calling on the fly. And we bring it up that side, and the person I wanted in the away toss isn't over there. It's just like, that's happening so consistently right now. I chalk it up to the holidays.
Or guys not knowing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't a guy that forgot this.
Stay tuned for more sports news only here in Eurotv News. Once again, I am Kyle Basa. Back to you, Alvin and KRIZZA.
Thank you, Kyle Basa. Korean boy group Bangtan Sonyeodan or BTS is set to announce the details of their new album and upcoming concert following their end of contract to military service. Sam Martos has the details.
Let's step into the world of entertainment for our showbiz news. Get ready, Army, because the group BTS is making a comeback with a brand new album and upcoming world tour concert. BTS is set to return to the big stage with their upcoming concert and the release of a new album. This was officially confirmed by their agency Big Hit Music through their social media accounts. The group's fifth studio album is expected to be released on March 20, where it will have 14 tracks containing honest stories that they will share with the Army. Album pre-orders will begin 11 a.m. on January 16 in South Korea or 10 a.m. in Philippine time. Following the album release, the group will also embark on a world tour concert. The tour schedule is set to be announced on January 14, 2026. Meanwhile, it will be remembered that the 7 members of the group have completed their military service and also announced their return this year. And that's our entertainment news. Once again, I'm Sam Martos. Back to you, Alvin and KRIZZA.
Thank you, Sam Martos. And that's the latest news for tonight. You may visit Eurotvph.com for more news and information. Once again, I am KRIZZA Lopez.
You can also catch our live broadcast through our social media accounts and via an Extreme channel. I'm ALVIN PELOBELLO. Thanks for joining us. This is Eurotv News Thread. Stay safe and have a good night, everyone.